Welcome to the Fishbowl Radio, everybody. My name is Chief here, and joining me today is Juicy. We are doing a LSU versus Auburn series preview here on the Fishbowl Sports Radio. How are you doing today, Juicy?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good myself here. So LSU coming off a very strong performance against Oklahoma, to say the least. Here, all three starting pitchers did not give up any earned runs. So
I don't think the
Juicy,
bullpen did either, which they didn't use much
yeah,
of.
I think the start. I mean, yeah. So, how you feel about this LSU ball club moving forward?
They absolutely tearing it up right now. I mean, everything's clicking for them. The pitching, the hitting, more so the pitching though. Uh, they didn't have like a great offensive performance, but the W is the only thing that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's saying the least right there. Cade Anderson pitched very well on Friday night for LSU. Absolute dominant pitching performance there, and they continued out through the rest of the series against Oklahoma. Now that we're shifting gears to Auburn, is there anything that you're particularly worried about LSU going forward?
I'm worried about just them keeping that energy, that momentum, that the train rolling. Really, at this point, I'm not expecting Cade Anderson to go out there and get complete games every week, but just get another good solid start. The ideal plan would be to have him start. Have Case and Evans or Zach Cowan, who both of those have been very reliable and can go a few innings. Get them to come out, get one to come out and finish the game, and then you expect your number two to get a solid start and have one of them come out and finish the game, and then just see what happens on Sunday. That would be the ideal plan. It worked out perfectly against Oklahoma, especially with Cade Anderson getting that complete game.
Yeah, I mean it helps, right? That's one thing you can always rely on here. It being helping for sure here. So, just looking ahead to Auburn, is there? I like the way LSU is playing right now. I like I said before, many times before. Great pitching will always beat great hitting teams. And that's a matter of fact. It's like you saw when LSU won national championship, Paul Skeens, how much
Oklahoma has a pretty high-powered offense, but their pitching, LSU's pitching kept them in check all week.
Yeah, I mean that helps out. That's something that really does help you out with great pitching there. So, man, Beth Tarina getting her 700 win today. That was with LSU's win over Louisiana Tech tonight in softball. Congratulations to them. Both squads are doing very well. I think this LSU softball team is going to make it to OKC. LSU's baseball team, you asked me a couple of weeks ago where I thought they were at, and I said super regionals. And I was on the edge there. But now I think after I want to see what the Oklahoma series was, and they're getting into that meat part of the schedule that I referenced earlier here, with them being a top LSU being ranked so high in the RPIs of how it is, and them playing Auburn, then they got Alabama, then Tennessee right after that, then A&M, and then Arkansas and South Carolina. That meat part of the schedule is definitely being play here. So I think I think the minimum LSU is going to get a 2 out of 3 win over Auburn, to say the least, here for sure. What you thinking, Juicy?
I'm gonna go the same thing, and I'm always on the conservative side. I never like to. There's no way LSU would get 3 sweeps in a row. I mean, if they do, you might as well just go buy you a lottery ticket or something, because I don't even know if that's ever been done. and
Yeah,
at least when's
like
the last time something like that's been done? I'm not gonna be aggressive and say a sweep, but at this point, I'm not gonna be surprised if they do. But I'm not gonna call it. You didn't hear it from me.
yeah, you probably be the one to be over there getting the lottery ticket, not telling anybody, and be like, wait a second. Yeah.
That's him. That's him.
You be telling everybody to go bet the under, like gambling person would
Exactly.
do, right?
Telling.
So I see your game.
I see your game.
I
Man.
know
I
what
see what
you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about there.
I'm just
You gonna
trying to
steal
put
all
my
the
money
money
where
for
my
himself,
mouth
telling
is.
everybody LSU ain't gonna sweep this weekend, so everybody go bet then
Oh
follow
well.
along with you.
You said you
You
wouldn't
go
be
bet.
surprised. I never said they would though.
What a coinky dink, right? But yeah, I think LSU's starting pitching has really came on. I mean, especially past weekend was a great display of pitching talent that LSU has here, and Oklahoma with their offenses. You mentioned earlier in this pod, great offense. I mean, Oklahoma's been good all year on offense, and then what LSU did to them Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is not something what we're used to seeing happen to Oklahoma this year. So, with the
It
way it
helps
is,
too. Oh, I was gonna say it helps too
go
when you
ahead.
have like a Zach Cowan and Case and Evans. You don't have to use a lot of relief pitchers either. You got two of them you can fall back on that can go a few innings at least.
Yeah, you got to have the bullpen behind them too. I mean, they're the unsung heroes of college baseball, and they definitely deserve to get their accolades and stuff like that. Get their roses, like they say, or their flowers, basically, as they would say. So I'm gonna share this screen here. Let's look at the SEC baseball standings here. Arkansas is leading the way with Texas right on their heels here, 11-1. LSU sitting right there at 10-2, only one game back here. This could flip in Tennessee, losing the series to Texas A&M. Did not see that one coming. That's the one we were talking about betting. Yeah, because look, A&M way down there, 3-9. They ended that series with one win.
Didn't see that one coming either. I never would have even guessed it.
Yeah, so I know LSU plays Arkansas later in the year. They do play Tennessee. All two series here. They get Auburn on the road. Alabama's at home. They play Tennessee at home and on the road in between that Tennessee and Arkansas game. And that one's kind of a trap series technically because you might be looking ahead to Arkansas, but I think LSU will be all right with being able to teams get real hot at this time of year and go make a deep tournament run. A&M could potentially be that team. I don't see it being A&M though, but
You never
you
know.
can
It
never
always
say
takes a
never
series like
in
that
baseball.
to it takes a series like that to kind of turn the corner sometimes, to turn the season
Yeah,
around.
baseball is one of those sports like that. So I mean, you cannot count any team out. I know, granted, there's about a month and like a week left in the college baseball season because LSU's last regular season series starts on May 15th. So we're about like maybe like about a month and a week, you roughly say, technically, depending on how everybody starts their stuff. But that's the regular season. So looking at this, because Arkansas this week, I'm gonna check out Arkansas. I'm gonna check out Texas too to kind of give y'all and up going on here. If you look, this Arkansas, they're Georgia. They could versus this series to Georgia. Georgia's RPI is right there. The SEC owns 7 of the top 8 RPIs according to NCAA.org.com. And Arkansas and Warren Nolan, they got them at live updated RPI of
We
1.
might not.
But Arkansas, their best win, Arkansas, I would say, is well, technically, it would say Ole Miss ranking wise, but RPI wise, it's Vandy. So, I mean, they've played a decent SEC schedule here. They had Missouri this past week, so I mean, it wasn't much competition there. They blew them out in all 3 games, so they left little to no doubt with that one there. Then at Georgia, so they get they had Arkansas State in the midweek this week, winning 7-3. They're taking on Georgia, but then they got A&M themselves, and then they got Florida. So they're getting kind of like easier 2 back-to-back weeks. Then they got Texas, then LSU, and then Tennessee. They have a tough road to close out of with Texas, LSU, and Tennessee sitting right there. Yes, top 4. So the regular season title is 4. Oh, that like we have a lot of games left. Stretch for Arkansas is gonna be rough. Whereas Texas, they're sitting pretty good. I mean, they had that series winning against LSU. Got Kentucky in 3-game series this weekend coming up. Then you got Auburn right after that. Then you got A&M, Arkansas, Florida, then Oklahoma. It's the easiest road of the top 3, looking at it that way. So if I'm gonna predict who I think is gonna win the SEC regular on Texas,
It's gonna be
honestly,
Missouri. It's gonna be Missouri.
it's gonna be Missouri. The whole entire thing.
They're gonna win their last 18 conference. They're gonna sweep their last 6 series.
They're gonna sweep everybody from here on out.
0-12 Missouri's gonna turn it around.
So, looking at, I'm sharing the Warren Nolan side of things because you got Auburn. LSU's got a tougher road, and that's why I would pick Texas to win it because you got Auburn, then Alabama, then Tennessee, and then Arkansas. But if you go look, I'm gonna click on Texas. You're gonna see what I'm talking about, everybody. So, like I mentioned earlier, you get down, you see all this. They beat Georgia, and through the tough part of their schedule. Auburn, A&M, then Arkansas, then Florida, and then I like Texas has the easiest of the top 3 for sure, in my opinion.
That's fair to say.
To finish it out. So, but yeah, LSU regional in really good shape.
Probably hosts a super too at this point.
Yeah, they're setting up for a super. But there's also something else I want to talk to you about. This is like across all sports. Before we start talking about softball, Mickey Joseph. That should bring up.
Mm-hmm.
He was once LSU's wide receiver, an interim coach at Nebraska. Grambling's. He said he used to transfer portal at the power conference level and had to combat it at the lower levels of the sport. So he thinks smaller schools should get buyouts from poached players from these bigger schools. Do you think that's a fair statement, or you think that's kind of crazy with the NIL and transfer portal? I think it should. I think they should be on their contracts. I think that's something that I kind of like the idea. It needs to bring parity to the sport because
so basically, so how I gather that would work basically is a bigger school comes and poaches them from a smaller school, but then they gotta pay the smaller school basically the buyout.
Yeah, like okay, for example, remember how much money Michigan spent for Bryce Underwood?
Yeah, like $12 million or something.
It was $12 million they gave him. Okay, this kid he could be the worst college athlete to ever play the entire sport. He's set for the rest of his life if he manages money correctly. $12 million. I mean, like he's set for life. I mean, if someone tells you ain't set for life with $12 million, then you're doing something wrong. But anyway, I mean, a lot of people they win the lottery and they go broke because they go crazy with it. But if he manages his money right, he should be okay for the rest of his life. But that's not the important part. So let's say if Bryce Underwood would have started his career at, I'm just gonna say, let's say McNeese, okay? Very small school, okay? He has a great first year. Like he throws for, let's say, 6,000 yards.
Yeah, he
He
lights up the FCS.
Yeah, he lights it up. Like he has 45 passing touchdowns. Okay, I'm just making up stuff as
1,000
I go
passing
here.
yards, like 1,000 rushing yards. Kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
like some insane number that LA is going to draw the likes of Power Five teams. And McNeese's contract, they have him there. Let's say they're giving him like, let's say $80,000. Okay, let's just give like a little small number. Okay, they would have like if LSU came in offered him 2 million. I think part of that should be the buyout thing there too. I think that's how it should work, and I think that should be contracts. But I don't know how they sign deals, and in those deals they have to like oh, I need you to appear in this commercial so many times. Like for I'll use Eat Lafayette as an example. That's something that would be our Eat Lake Charles or something. That is something that we could look at and be like, okay, I think it's a fair thing. I think it's something that I think would balance things out a little bit at least here. If you're not going to do that, then I know that some small schools are going to hate me for this because they're going to be like, well, you're talking about rebranding the G5 or whatever else here. I think in football, I think there's so much money in football that I don't think that even with the poach and the buyout, a bit more manageable because there's less players involved in it because you have like maybe 11 or 12 players on your team. Aside, you got 5 starters, 12, 13. There's not a lot of players in basketball compared to like football. Uh, to where I think football should have. I'm starting to like think more and more about the Power Five separating from the G5, and I think that's going to be a theory that has been taught around for a couple of years and stuff. So that's something that we're going to have to look at here. Looks like we lost Juicy for a little bit. He'll probably just chime back in, but just looking at it here, um, look, I think that we're getting into a point where there's so much money being thrown around that it'll be very hard for a like a UL or the next generation Boise State to come in and compete for a national title. Now, granted, Boise State was the G5 participant this year, but I think we're in the beginning stages of where the Power Five, like the Power Five, don't even need to recruit anymore. They just gotta wait for one player to really like have a stud-tastic year, and they'll just pack him up because like basically you maybe got a year or two of your players and they're gone. What you think, Juicy?
I mean, I think that's fair. I mean, you hit all the points on the head. I mean, G5 is at somewhat of a disadvantage compared to like your bigger schools, especially when you get to like FCS who can't afford anything. But there's got to be a little bit more limitations to it, for sure.
I think we're gonna get to the point where they're gonna the Power Five and like I mean this has been like talked about years and years ago. I didn't originate this idea, but I think it's more prevalent in today. Even though G5 we currently have a seat at the table, but I think that if you say that you are ignoring the elephant in the room, saying that yeah, there's gonna probably be a separation between the Power Five and the G5. I think at some point because there's just too much money. Like this is whereas basketball wouldn't be the same thing because you have less players. Like I mean, I talked about there's 5 starters, and there's probably like 7 or 8 on your bench. That's part of it there. What you think, Juicy?
Yeah, less players, easier to handle and spread out money. Um, I think I think that's what's going to happen here. Probably when a contract comes up with the football, they're probably going to split Power 5 and G5 into like separate categories and have like national championships in each one.
I think it'll probably be like I still like some people are like, well, it's gonna hurt the G5 if they do split. I don't know if it would because granted, like, or am I interested in I'm gonna watch the Cajuns, okay? I'm a still watch the Cajuns. If they're playing away or wherever or they're home, I'm still gonna buy whether regardless here. You might actually see an increase in I'm thinking attendance. I think it might actually be a better thing because there's one thing that people love, like you Juicy, you saw this and we all saw this. Whenever a team's competing for a championship, no matter what it is, people get excited. More excited than normal. And I think that'd be a good way of things happening there. What you think, Juicy?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, more more ways to bring champ now. Would it be the same type of caliber? Would it be? Would you consider the G5 like the FCS or?
Well, I think the G5 wouldn't be in the thing with the FCS. I think they're gonna have another. There's gonna be another line cut. It's just moving up things more. I I think that the Power Five are still gonna play the G5. I think we're gonna be kind of back into a 70s or 80s kind of model where you don't have as many power like Division One. It like the amount of teams in Division One have exploded in recent years, in the last 10 to 20 years. Like if you played the old NCAA football games before
Oh
the
yeah.
college football when they came out back in the 2000s, you would go look at the bottom, and I think at one it was like 110. If you go look back at like 2001, I could be wrong, but when you got to like the '07, it's like 119,
I
and
could think of
it's
a few
been
schools. I could think of a few schools already, like App State, James Madison, Coastal Carolina, New Mexico State. I think.
yeah, and all those schools jumped up. Like they all jumped up in recent years. Jacksonville State,
Jacksonville State's another one. Yeah.
Liberty. I don't know if you said Georgia Southern.
Oh, Georgia Southern, Texas State.
Yeah, like a lot of like Conference USA. You're all this. It's basically a we're basically an FCS league right now with the amount that came up or whatever. I know some people are going to argue that point, but I I just don't. I think there's too much money involved, and I just think that with the TV contracts and the TV contracts are deciding everything. And I think that people will watch the G5. Like you're gonna have the people that like watch UL and go to UL games. They're still gonna do the same thing, and that will stay the same over the course there. And you're not gonna change the way because like the students that leave in the middle of halftime or whatever, that's part of it. But that's a whole nother topic that we can have in the off season. Let's go talk about LSU softball. So yeah, LSU softball taking on Texas A&M, big series this week for LSU softball. A&M, number 3 in the country.
And they're gonna
Juicy,
be on
what
the
you?
road too.
Yeah, what you thinking about this one, Juicy?
Oh well, two of the best programs and two of some of the top programs in the country right now. I need to pull up some stats from A&M. Get a little better.
So LSU, if you're comparing 1 through 25 RPI teams, LSU is currently 8-4. So 4 of their 5 losses have come from teams in the top 25 RPI, which is very impressive. Uh, that's shows you play tough competition, and their strength of schedule is ranked number 20, non-conference RPI is 6, RPI is 4, non-conference and schedule 37. So on the road they're 4-2. At home, they're 26-3, and neutral site they're 4-0. So, which is kind of crazy, and it actually backs it up because LSU did play a lot of games at home this year. Uh, I don't know if they're counting I think the Fullerton when they beat UCLA and all them other ones that Fullerton, California, that's probably like the neutral site where they got the 4-0, but they had so I would consider that 8-2 away game. So in that regard, but I think in LSU hindsight here, this is a very veteran-led team, and usually veteran-led teams do very well and they get real deep runs. I think I got LSU taking 2 or 3 against Texas A&M. I think they're going to be close. It's going to be very close. LSU's coming off a 2 or 3 win against Alabama, and they had lost that series against South Carolina. So if you want to look up softball standings for the SEC, I'm about to pull that up so everybody can see it. This is how everything looks. I have to do the little deal. Let me get there real quick here so y'all can share my screen so y'all can see what everything is going like here. All right. Pull that up for y'all real quick. Got some scores up there. Auburn winning, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina. LSU currently sitting right there in 4th. Right, 1 game ahead of Florida. So yeah, if they could take 2 or 3 against A&M, that would be big.
Oh, I mean, LSU's definitely got.
And then you got
I'm excited for it. I mean, I know they got the bats, they got the talent. I mean, I know they're well-rounded.
they got the
They
pitching
got the
too.
pitching too,
You can't
especially
forget
with
about that pitching.
Jaden Havner and Sidney Bearzon, the 2 heavy hitters they got pitching.
And you can't forget about Coffee either.
Oh no, Coffee's currently has a 447 average. I'm looking at their stats right now. That's unheard of. Drew
That's
114 at
extremely high.
bats, a 447 average. That's ridiculous. Really good.
Yeah.
I mean, they got 3
Um
players with
I
over 400 batting averages and over 100 at bats.
so looking at it like this here, I think LSU can beat A&M. It's gonna be a tough fight though. I want to see what A&M's got left to play. Let's see. So they're going to be playing, of course, LSU, Missouri. Then they got to play the Cajuns, Arkansas, and then Tennessee to close it out. Whereas LSU they have A&M, they have Texas, McNeese, Florida, and Arkansas.
All pretty tough.
Texas, yeah, Texas to finish out their year. They have, let's see, Tennessee, LSU, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, and Kentucky. Oklahoma to finish out, the dynasty that is Oklahoma. Alabama, Mississippi State, Texas, Florida to wrap it up there.
I would argue that
But
Texas
Oklahoma,
probably has the toughest road to finish out in softball.
so if you want to know something here, Oklahoma, if you look at their strength of schedule, is 43. So, I mean, if you're looking at that kind of thing there, you're like, well, that's, kind of high for them. Texas is at 38.
I know LSU's got to be pretty high. They've had a pretty good time.
Yeah, LSU is at 20, I think. When we last looked, I think I had said it earlier. I think they're at 20. Yeah, they're at 20. So A&M, just looking at them, trying to see what they got left, like what their strength of schedule is. Their strength of schedule is currently 10 right now. So A&M does have a very tough, schedule. to say the least. Definitely top 10 in the country. So that's something we're going to look at. See, and LSU being only 2 games back, I feel like for them to win
I can't believe they still not.
the
I can't
SEC,
believe
I
they're
think
not
they have
first in
to.
the
They got.
SEC.
Yeah, I think LSU has to win this series to win the regular season. But we all know that, how you feel about LSU? Are they super regional hosts with that resume,
Oh, with that
Juicy?
resume, I mean, it's hard to argue with that. I mean, I thought. I mean, unless like the bottom falls out, I don't see how they can't even host a super regional either. I mean,
Yeah, I think that's where I think they're hosting a super. That's my prediction here. I think they'll take 2 or 3. What you got, Juicy?
I'm confident to say. I think, man, it's gonna be tough, but I'm confident to say they're gonna take 2 or 3. I mean, I just, I'm not trying to be biased. Just have to, just I'm going off of strictly like numbers, team stats right here. The offense is there, the defense, the pitching's there. It's just, it's just the old adage. They just gotta put it all together and hope for the best.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens here. But thank y'all for tuning in here. We're gonna get off here in a little bit here. Juicy, anything you want to say before we get off here?
No, I think that's it, man. Got everything covered, I believe.
Yeah, we do. So thank y'all for tuning in for this episode for LSU this week here on the Fishbowl Radio. We'll be a great and wonderful night. We're gonna see y'all here next time here on the Fishbowl Radio. We'll see what happens here, but we're kind of getting close here, and this try to finish up that resume here and see how it goes in the SEC tournament. LSU's softball looking really good. LSU baseball looking really good. Regardless of what happens this weekend, I think both teams are looking pretty good in terms of like postseason play and stuff. So, but it'd always be great to win more games, obviously. But thank y'all for tuning in. Hope you have a great, wonderful time. We'll see you here next time on the Fishbowl Sports.